Now, let me just say, it is my great pleasure as an autism mom to introduce you to tonight's testimonial speaker, Ashley Bettis-Carl. Yeah, a lot of you know Ashley. And she just got the cutest kids. Oh my God. Ashley is going to tell you all how Fraser provided crucial, life changing care to her twin sons, little Brooks and Braden, and they are absolutely adorable after they were diagnosed with autism. We are so grateful for families like the Bettis Carls who have placed their trust in Fraser. And let me just say, there are a lot of organizations out there that are preying on moms like me and Ashley, making promises about what they can do for our kids, and they will take our money and run and leave us with our babies. But we know that we can trust Fraser, and they will take our kids, and they will love them as if they are their own. And you've seen from Leo's testimony, and you will see tonight with Ashley's kids, the work and the walking billboards and the walking miracles that Fraser produces. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a heartfelt welcome to my fellow mom in the struggle, Ashley Bettis Carl.
I don't know how to follow that. For the longest time, I sat and thought of how I would start this speech, as I feel like my family's journey has so many different beginnings. Do I just fast forward through the years of infertility and multiple attempts to try to have a baby? Do I quickly skip over the months I laid in a hospital on bed rest and the months that followed in the NICU? Do I quickly touch base on the first year of Brooks and Braden's life and how they spent almost every week in a different specialist for different medical issues? Or do I just jump right into the day of diagnosis, the day I was told my son has autism? Because really, that day feels like my new beginning of life. It was the day my life and my family's life changed forever. That day made all those earlier days suddenly feel easy and almost like a distant memory. The day Braden was diagnosed with autism was the day we started the new chapter of our book with a story we could never prepare for. Let me catch you all up by saying our infertility journey ended with the birth of our twin boys, Braden and Brooks. I started noticing differences between the Brooks and Braden around 14 months. Brooks was checking off quite a few developmental milestones, while Braden was not. However, at 18 months, they both still were not speaking any words. So naturally, as moms do, I Googled and I read everything possible. I convinced myself of 1,000,000 different things that could possibly be wrong with my boys. So at their next doctor appointment, I shared my concerns with our pediatrician. She medically agreed with my concerns and referred us to a developmental pediatrician at Children's Hospital, where the boys went through testing for autism. Weeks later, I went back for the results. The doctor started with Brooks. She told me he was very smart, but he was lacking fine motor skills as well as he had a speech delay. All things I knew. She then followed with, he does not have autism, but she was suggesting occupational therapy as well as speech therapy. I smiled and said, is this the same for Braden? Knowing in my heart it most likely was not. She looked at me and said, no, while Braden lacks all the same things Brooks does, we have also determined Braden has autism. I think I just froze for a second. My mind went into a complete fog. What does this mean? Autism? What does my family do now? I thought about all the dreams that kept me positive when I was pregnant on bed rest. I dreamt about the life we were going to have with our two boys, that they would be best friends, play on the same hockey team together, get their license together, had the same group of friends, get in trouble together, graduate high school together, and go off to college together. Were these dreams not going to be a reality for us anymore? Will autism take away our life we thought we would have? I was going down a rabbit hole. I'm pretty good at that. I quickly had to pull it together. I had to be strong and focus and listen to what the doctor told me my next steps were. She explained to me how autism is on the spectrum. She told me early intervention was key. She also didn't sugarcoat anything. She told me some of the severities and explained that there's a possibility Braden may be nonverbal, but with therapy, he can make great strides. She told me about Fraser. She said that's who she would call. But then in the same breath warned me they had a very long waiting list, so it could be a while before Braden, and Brooks for that matter, may be able to start the services they needed. When I left the doctor that day, I called Fraser on my way home. I told them I needed to get my sons in to start services. The receptionist asked me when Braden was diagnosed with autism. I said 20 minutes ago. I remember the receptionist being shocked and saying, "Oh my goodness, nobody calls this quick. It usually takes time for the family to process." For me, making that phone call was the start of me processing. I was told there was over a year wait, so I knew every minute that passed, he would be pushed further and further down a list. There wasn't time to fully process our new reality. I just had to dive all in and process later. We somehow, miraculously, within a few months, were able to get the boys into services at the Fraser Eden Prairie location, with both boys attending speech and occupational therapy, as well as Braden attending the day treatment program. Living in Hastings, which was about a 50-minute drive one way, and traveling to Eden Prairie 5 days a week with two 2-year-olds in a car became very taxing pretty quickly. So when a spot opened at the Richfield Clinic a few months later, we took it. It was only 10 to 15 minutes closer, but it was worth it. After about 6 months in Richfield, Braden's therapist came to me and said Braden was not improving as much as they had hoped, and she thought it was time to switch him to ABA services. She told me the Richfield Clinic did not offer ABA services, but Fraser was almost done building a new clinic in Woodbury that would. On that same day, Brooks's therapist told me while he was improving in some areas, his anxieties and impulsive behaviors were getting worse. So she was referring him to the day treatment program. Double whammy. I was terrified of putting Braden in services that were 7.5 hours a day at only 3 years old. He still napped. That was basically a full day of school, 5 days a week, all year long at only 3 years old. I feared I was going to miss out so much with my little boy if he was gone all day. I wouldn't even have summer days with him. Did he really need this intensive therapy? Does ABA mean severe autism? Will he ever really talk? For surely he will talk by kindergarten. He had to. And now, oh my gosh, Brooks needs to be in day treatment. Does this mean he might have autism as well? Will he need more intense therapy down the road? How will we ever do this? There I was in my rabbit hole again, and I wasn't coming out. I cried so hard that day on the way home. The grief of having a child with special needs hit me like a freight train right then and there. All the things I never processed when Braden was diagnosed, I began to on that drive. It was the longest drive home of my life. I remember sending a picture to my friend that day of me crying with Braden in the background. I told her I don't know how I was going to make it through this. I was so mad of what I thought autism was going to take away from us. Once I wiped my tears, I processed our next steps ahead with my husband, Jeremy. I dove into all things ABA. I then knew this is where Braden needed to be. I could see it, and now I accepted it. Simultaneously, I also knew Brooks needed the additional help and that the day treatment program was the best fit for him moving forward. While Woodbury was only 20 minutes from us, we were now doing 3 round trips a day between the 2 boys for services, and we continued this for 3 years. Thank goodness for my parents and being able to help with the driving to and from, or I'm not sure how we would have made it. Braden started to make some progress in ABA, and he was hitting his goals. While kids his age were hitting goals of knowing the alphabet, counting to 20, and reading sight words, Braden's goals were drinking from an open cup, imitating actions like patty cake, sitting in a chair for 1 minute at a time at mealtime, looking at you when you're saying his name, attending a group activity for 2 minutes, and waving hello and goodbye. These were our new milestones, our new developmental checklist. And every time Braden checked one off, we celebrated. Braden began to repeat some words. When he received his speech device, he would then start to repeat what the device was saying. We found out Braden could label almost anything. While Braden couldn't then, or still now, speak full sentences, or even 3-word combinations, he can tell us in 1 to 2 words what he needs much of the time. What continues to puzzle me is we found Braden can read. He can read almost anything, and when you sit him down with a book, he can read you 1 sentence at a time, word for word. but without a book, he cannot seem to form sentences. The brain is something I long to understand. Brooks made great strides in the day treatment program. He graduated onto elementary school, starting in kindergarten, and now is in second grade, where he continues to impress his teachers. While he still may have some struggles with anxieties, it is manageable. Brooks continues to blow us away with his intelligence as well as his love for his brother Braden. We have never shied away from the conversation of Braden having autism, and Brooks is fully aware what autism is. He is so kind and helpful to his brother. He spreads autism awareness to his friends in and out of school by trying to teach others about what autism is. Spreading awareness and educating others on autism has become a passion of mine. Over the last 5 years, I have found that there is such a lack of understanding surrounding autism, with so many judgments and misconceptions. I found autism to be invisibly different, yet held to the same standard. A few years ago, I started a fundraiser called the Rally for Autism. For the past couple of years, we have donated all the money to Fraser. We have raised over $40,000 to date. Thank you. We started the rally to spread awareness about autism within our community. Year after year, our community continues to blow me away with their support for such a great cause. I have the most amazing friends and family, most of them here tonight, who have put all their love and hard work in supporting our family in the Rally for Autism. My words will never be able to describe how thankful I am for each and every one of you. Without you, this would never be possible. With the help of Fraser, Braden has now successfully transitioned into second grade in the special education program at our local elementary school. While our days are not always perfect and sometimes filled with epic meltdowns, self-injurious behavior, and lots of tears, we do find most of our days are filled with so much joy. Watching Braden grow every year has been such a blessing, and we continue to unlock a piece of him every single day. He is by far the strongest person I know. Some of his favorite activities are taking pictures and videos with his iPad, throwing rocks into the water to watch them splash, as well as going to the zoo, aquarium, on boat rides, and of course, swinging. His favorite toy right now is a stuffed emotional buddy doll from school. Each doll has a different emotion on their face for the kids to label. Braden's favorite one is the sad face. It is what makes him happy every single day when he gets to school. Ironic that a sad doll makes him happy. Autism started the new chapter of my family's story, but does not define our story. We chose to take one day at a time and move forward with grateful hearts. Yes, there is grief, and it comes and it goes, but I have come to accept that. Not too long back, I had a conversation with my amazing aunt, who has a 32-year-old son with Down syndrome. We talked about the grief of having a child with special needs. We spoke how the grief is like a circle. It's never ending. She told me I could go years not grieving, but then you have milestone moments, like the ones your child would not be able to have, like driving a car, going to college, or even as simple as staying home alone. And then you grieve. You don't stay there long because you can't, but that you do take that moment. While we might take that moment, we also know what having a child with special needs has brought into our world. We are the lucky ones. We are the ones who get these amazing, complex, loving kids to show us what life is really all about. We get to share every single day. We get to share every single day with these humans who are so selfless, completely non-judgmental, and don't have a care in the world but to be exactly who they are. Every single day, they live in a world that makes no sense to them, yet somehow teach us how to be better people. As my mom has always said, everything happens for a reason. And boy, was she right. I now know our reason, and our life is everything I never knew I even dreamed of, and even more. And with that said, I would love for you all to meet my perfect family, my husband, Jeremy, and our two sons, Brooks and Braden. Come on, bud. I'm gonna pull this down. Brooks has also decided he wants to say a few words to end out the evening.
My name is Brooks. I love my twin brother Braden. He learns a little different than we do. Braden has a hard time talking and he can only say a few words. Braden sometimes has hard making new friends. Fraser helps Braden learn new things. Braden is my best friend. Just because someone with autism may seem different, it does not mean they are any less than us. Thank you everyone for your support tonight.